little snow on the ground here this morning. But it'll all be gone by the end of the video. It's supposed to get up to almost 50 today, which is pretty crazy. Gotta love that Indiana weather. Welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike. Today we're gonna put the finishing touches on the scrap-built forks. That's a bucket. Stay with me. The scrap-built forks for the John Deere 755. And then I'm gonna build a brush bunk, an attachment for the forks where I can carry a bunch of brush on the front of it. So the forks are down the hill, across the bridge, up the hill, and over there. We gotta go get them. Check the oil real quick. We'll just run this a couple times. Make sure we got some in there. Oh, she looks real good. First thing we gotta do is we gotta get the 755 started. That's gonna be the first trick. She will most definitely not have enough power to start, I can tell you that. I used the winch a lot last time we used this. Somebody was asking how the tractor likes the little homemade winch we got on the back. The loader arms and the whole tractor as a whole love the winch because it saves the loader from work. The battery does not like the winch very much. I've been looking into, and I think I found a couple deep cycle options, some marine batteries that I could put in here that'll fit similar cranking amps, all that fun stuff. Yeah, let's just put a jump pack on it. My jump pack dead? Okay. You ought to have it now. So these are my scrap-built forks. If you've been with us for a few videos, you've seen those. You saw the video on making these, but we just used some C-channel, bent everything down. Cut some holes for the quick attach stuff, and we just kind of got it up, did a test run to see how it worked. And they worked pretty well. I'm pretty happy with them. There's still some things I got to polish up on the top end before I can call it done. there's some things up on the bottom side we gotta do too. And then I've got this scrap steel here from another lieutenant. Another lieutenant gave me this from the fire station. And we're gonna see if we can't rig up a brush bunk that slides onto the forks. So first thing we're gonna do, let's get this all polished up and finished up, and then we'll get onto that. I did get some more cutoff wheels. I get my stuff from Benchmark Abrasives. No sponsorship, no partnership. It's just where I get it from. I had a subscriber send me some, and I just fell in love with their stuff. I got some flap wheels in here, maybe in here, some grinding wheels, some flap wheels, and some cutoff wheels. And then I had a subscriber, Daniel, sent in some cutoff wheels as well. So we're set on that. Definitely appreciate those cutoff wheels. That's gonna be a huge help. And I do want to try something, and we're gonna put them to the test. Actually, we got to cut some back plate out here and there. I'm gonna use the Benchmark Abrasives on one cutoff, and then I'm gonna use these on the other side. Just kind of see how they work, just compare them. I don't know, we'll see. Welder typically starts no problem for us. That's what we ended up with there. Not terrible. Nothing a flap wheel can't fix. So that's everything accessible from the top side. I'm gonna go ahead and take a flap wheel and clean up all these welds. Then we'll flip her up and do some work on the bottom side. These are 80 grit. They work pretty well. I got that all flap wheel down. I think it looks fun. If a feller wanted to take the time, you could come in and just spot weld these and then flap it again, but I'm not trying to make it showroom pretty. The goal of the flap wheel for me is just that whenever I'm running my hand over it, however I'm grabbing this thing, there's nothing snagging me, cutting me, grabbing me. Nothing that's gonna annoy me whenever I'm using it. And it all feels pretty good. Before we flip it over and do the welding on the bottom, let's go ahead and cut these little windows out. We're gonna cut these out for a couple reasons. One, for weight, but the main reason is whenever it's up, I can't really see my fork tips. So if I cut a little window out here, I'll be able to see the fork tips whenever the forks are up in front of me. If I'm getting something out of the back of a pickup truck or something like that. So these are the cutoff wheels that Daniel was nice enough to send in. I've never used these before, but I figured we'd try them out. Trying to get this steel cut, like I said, just trying to make myself a little bit better visibility. And I'll show you at the end of the video. I'll kind of shove the camera through there so you can kind of see how it's going to help the visibility. Get these cut out with a cutoff wheel and then break it out. I think this shows, though, how handy a torch would be. I mentioned In the live stream the other night, the MCF Welding actually sent me some hoses and a torch, and I got to get some bottles, but hopefully we'll be going together watching me learn how to use a torch. The next wheel is going to be that Benchmark abrasives. That's the one I normally use, and I like them pretty well. And honestly, I mean, we're cutting the same thing, same size hole on both sides. They performed pretty equally. I went through 1.5 wheels on each one. I did break one Benchmark abrasive wheel on this cut, but I think it's an awkward angle for that on the back side. And that's actually the first time I've broken one of the cutoff wheels. I think it's just the way I was holding the grinder more than anything. I'd say they're pretty comparable. I like them both, and I'll definitely use both stacks of them, no doubt about it. Next thing I want to tackle is this right here, a good old Grand Canyon. Please, it can happen. Maybe I should be on this side just in case, right? Perfect access. I'm gonna get that cleaned up and we'll get her all filled in. That's what I ended up with here. I might have to, I don't know if you can tell in this shadow, but the weld comes up this side just a little bit. I might have to grind that off a touch. We'll have to see how that quick attach plate fits down in there. But I think that'll work. For a guy that's learning how to weld, I think that'll be fine for a Grand Canyon fill. The next thing is actually right here. It's where that seat channel sits on that back plate. I'm gonna run a bead down that. I've already got it cleaned off. Same on this side. And then we're gonna come in. I got crazy with an overcut on the bottom on both of these sides. I've got those cleaned out and opened up. We're gonna try to get those filled in too. That's what we ended up with there. It'll be fine. It'll be just fine. That one. I think that's all the welding I had left to do on the actual frame of this thing. Get that back on the tractor. Tie into this scrap steel and see if we can get a little brush bunk made. I think we can just pick this up and it sits down nice and easy and nothing kills us. I'll just get it, be able to get in there with the tractor gets, shouldn't I? If we just roll around. So it's angled away from the barn. Well, I don't know why a fella couldn't. So a lot of people talked about, and I did too, about putting a headache rack on here. And a lot of people point out, they said whatever headache rack you put on, make sure you're not messing up your visibility. Also, make your headache rack detachable, so if you need to lift something heavy and that last 20 pounds is what you're lacking, you can take that headache rack off. And those are actually some pretty valid points. Here's what I want to do. I've got some of this scrap tubing. I mentioned another fireman gave this to me. It's actually old weightlifting equipment. I want to make something that... Now listen, just laugh with me, okay? Crying out loud, Mike. I want to make something that slides on the forks like that, and stands up on the back side, so we can just obnoxious amounts of brush on this thing. Stuff trimmed off of them. Now it's 51. This is the other one. This one we are. It's only 47 on that one. Everybody suggested get some soapstone, so I did. Make marking things a little easier. You guys did a full somersault. Very impressive. grand tour on this one. Now keep in mind, I'm not showing these welds to brag about them. I am trying to teach myself how to weld. The main reason I put these on video is so I can look back at them and see if I'm making any progress. All right, let's do the rest of it. Throw tack on it real quick. Okay. Should hold my distance for me. There we go. Run these over here off the tractor, and I won't accidentally weld it to the forks. Wouldn't that be something, huh? So that's how the welds ended up on this one. Nothing too crazy. That backside was a little challenging. It kept kind of blowing through, but it wasn't terrible. Now we're gonna get these things slid back on. There's one other thing I want to add on here before I'm ready to go test it. Now there's obviously going to be some odds and ends that we need to finish up in the long run. We'll talk about that on the outro at the end of the video. But obviously, one thing I need on here yet is a way to keep this thing from sliding off the forks while we're using it, because right now it's just sitting on there. I figured the easiest way to do it, since I have the hook on the forks, is just weld a chain on the back part of this. The biggest trick to that is going to be that it's tight enough it doesn't unhook itself, but it's loose enough I can actually unhook it. Took the cutoff wheel to cut the chain. Took the soapstone, made a little mark on each side. So where I know to weld it, nothing fancy, just kind of guessing there, eyeballing it more than anything. It doesn't have to be too crazy accurate. Then took the flap wheel, cleaned the paint off of there, and welded the chain on each side. And once we get this chain welded on, we'll slide it on, make sure it actually fits, and then we'll get out in the woods and we'll test it. And then I'll kind of talk you through about what I plan on using this for, how I feel about it at this point. By the way, if you entered the t-shirt contest the other day, just throwing this out there real quick, the winners are posted on the live stream. I'll put the link to the live stream in the description, and the winners are in the description of the live stream, just in case you missed that. So we'll get out in the woods here real quick, kind of run it down. I've got the cordless saw with me, you can see that. The cordless saw is just so handy for what we're getting ready to do, just kind of trimming up the trail. We are going to have a video coming up soon, some barn organization, and in that we're going to rebuild the chainsaws, get 372 tuned in, get the 55s rebuilt and all that kind of fun stuff. But for what we're doing right here, the cordless saw is pretty handy. So the first thing I wanted to see is how hard it is to get on and off the tractor. And it's not bad. I did try to set it on the ground and pull the forks out, but they just kind of seize up. So you can't set it on the ground, just back out. You do kind of have to pull it off by hand to get it started. But that's not terrible. I mean, we're talking, what, 30, 40 seconds here to break a camera? That's not bad. And then slide it back on. You got to kind of kick the fork tips around to get them slid in, but once you get that, it slides on pretty easy too, so it's not too bad. And the chain clips right in. Pretty happy with the way that works. Now this is how I see myself using this 99.99% of the time. Is driving down the trails, cutting down the dead and damaged trees that are alongside the trail, throwing them on this, and then packing them out to the fire. Now we do sometimes burn in the woods, but the weather has to be, I mean, I'm pretty picky about it. It's got to be pretty wet on the ground. Conditions aren't always that favorable, so it's just nicer to have the burn pile out in the open somewhere, away from the woods for obvious reason. But as far as this design for how I'm using it, I mean, it feels pretty good.
I can just cut and throw this stuff on here pretty haphazardly. I don't have to worry about it too much. We've got a lot of trees like this where the ivy and the vines have just taken them over. Trees will also get like this when other trees die and fall on them, and then they'll kind of start growing crooked. We've got a lot of that. Now we're just trying to kind of get it under control. So this little attachment should help me do that. It allows me to pack more out of the woods each time. And if I think about it just a little bit, and I remember to throw the heavy stuff back towards the tractor and keep the lighter brush out towards the end, I don't think we'll tear anything up with it.
That's a pretty decent sized pile of brush. I think as far as the test run goes, I'm pretty happy with it. I want to close these in. There. I thought these might be a little awkward, but they really weren't bad, and they did increase my capacity. I mean, the cylinders are very well protected. The hydraulic lines, this hydraulic line here is $92, in case you were wondering. So there's a lot of protection there, and that looks good. I really like it. It's really not too terrible to get on and off. I was hoping I'd be able to, you know, slide the forks in and out, but it's not gonna work. They just bind up. But you know, taking that chain off and you just give her a little pull. I mean, it's not bad. It comes on and off pretty easy. I think it'll work fine. I know a lot of people are going to tell me I should have left those off and then maybe made that so I could still fork things, but if I need to fork something, it comes off. It's an attachment. The primary purpose of this is not to fork stuff. Easy. The primary purpose of this is to pile as much brush on top of the light brush, pile as much on top as possible, and get it to the fire. The most time-consuming part about bringing stuff out of the woods to the fire is bringing them out of the woods. So if I get more per trip, we're saving time, and that's what it's about. And when I get down to the heavier stuff, you know, you get the top cleaned up, you get down to the heavier stuff, you just slide it off, and then you're down to the forks. We probably could have gone a little further out, and maybe just a little higher for a little bit more capacity. But I also know who I am. I've said this before, you can lie to the world, but you can't lie to yourself. I know if I felt like I had the room, I would throw a bunch of heavy stuff on there and then probably end up tearing up my cylinders and my quick attach. So I think that's good. I think that's a good safe size. And it'll do really well. It definitely holds more than the forks does. It offers the protection for hauling big piles like I wanted. Pretty easy to get on and off. I'm gonna call it a win. I actually, optimistically, I bought some tractor enamel paint to paint this and the forks today. I was hoping to get warm enough. It didn't. It didn't even get close to warm enough. I like things to be in mid-50s before you're painting. So we'll get it painted up and cleaned up in the spring, but all in all, not bad. I told you I'd explain why I cut those holes a little bit for weight, but mainly if I'm going like this, if I'm getting in the back of a pickup truck or on the side of a trailer and getting something off of it, because that plate was solid, I didn't really have any visibility of the tips. And now I've got little windows. I can kind of look through, kind of look around there and now see the tips of the forks a little bit better. Just gives me a little bit better visibility. That's why I did that. Forks 99.9% done, they just need paint. That needs capped, and then that needs paint. The next couple days I'm gonna be up at Mike's shop doing some maintenance, so there'll be a couple more shop videos coming out, and then either working back on the YouTube yet, just depends when the floor system comes in, or fabricating some more implements. So I'll leave it up to you guys. I have enough money, I can either buy the stuff and make a 3-shank ripper that will go on the back of the tractor, or we can do the road drag. You guys tell me which one you want to do. The road drag will be a multi-part series. The ripper will probably, I can probably get that done in a couple days. That'll probably just be a 1 video thing. Let me know which one you want me to build. It doesn't make any difference. I'm gonna build both at some point anyway. I figure I'd throw it out to you guys. That's all I got for this one. Hope you guys liked. I hope you're enjoying the content. I did put the SD card back in the trail cam today. So hopefully in an upcoming video, maybe next fabrication video, I'll throw some trail cam footage in there, see what's been going across. And that's it. That's it. It's just snowy cold this morning to a nice, comfortable January day. There is a little ice on the pond. There's a YouTube yacht. We're gonna have a fire in the future. I just like talking to you guys, and I don't know. I don't want to say bye. You know what I mean? I like talking, but at some point we all got to go. So appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.